for them to join, that's a big deal.
Dedication.
Yeah. So we're gonna give it 2 more minutes and then we get started. It's not gonna be long, but while we're waiting, you can prepare some of the questions you have, which you think need to be addressed. If it's a question which might take longer to explain, then I'll probably see if we can get an alternative to that. But we definitely will have to be able to explain everything if we can. If it's involving some, say, some mathematical calculations, then I'll probably have to do it on a separate video and then post it. But I know everybody so far has really enjoyed the session, Python, this big thing which everybody talks about. Okay, so I know probably another 1 minute, then we get started. Thank you. Feel free to take the notes. If you are shy like some of us, if you don't want to ask, feel free to take the notes, and then you can always get hold of me on the side chat, and I'll be more than glad to address. Of course, when I address that, I will also make sure that everybody's on the same page. Some people, they might fear to be heard, so they go the direction of just inbox, and then when you inbox me the question, I'll say, hey, this question came along, and this is how we answer it. But again, I'm really excited about the interest everybody has shown, the enthusiasm which come with it, and you can almost attest to this, that Python as a programming language is not really what somebody might think to be difficult. It's very easy, very straightforward. If you know English and you know your keyboard, you probably might just be able to do Python in a day. Okay, and that's what this class is all about. I would like to be able to see, I know we're over 200, but I would like to be able to see at least one or two get a job in Python. It might be in Kenya, it might be somewhere in Europe, could be in America, who knows, you know? Sometimes good things come in small packages. And this could just be one of them. Yeah. So also, it will really depend on how much time you put into this one for you to be able to get something out of it. The more time you put, it's almost directly proportional to the kind of output you get. And remember, always, if you can, try to network. Get a friend who is also in the same interest like you. Somebody who can help you and encourage you and be able to help you make it to the other end. Okay, that's what I call a mentor. And that has really helped in so many cases. It's been proven. It's not like an experiment. So, okay. This is just an overview. I'm not talking like an expert, but I'm talking from some of the stuff I've seen happening. Okay. So without wasting any more time, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and hope we are recording this. Let me check 1 second, so that whoever don't make it, we'll be able to still get it. Okay, yeah, I think we are recording, so that's a good thing. Okay, so my name again is Migot Ndede. Okay, I'm from Kenya, and I'm glad to say that. And I'm glad that everybody has an opportunity to also join in and be part of this thing we are trying to put together. What I can tell you, there's no gimmicks. Nothing is hidden like somebody might think. We are just good people with big heart trying to share the little we know. And that's just about it. If you're looking for something beyond that, then you probably want to go to church. but the best we can do is to be able to give it out there for free. It's already an open source. We just put a little bit of knowledge in it to change the value, okay? And that's exactly what we've done. And I would like to give a shout out to Jackie. Jackie has really been very instrumental. And of course, Meshach Amani. And Jackie, I have to say that you've been a sister who I've been looking for years. I'm glad you're here. So we are moving mountains and we are enabling people to be able to realize their capacity. You know, sometimes before you start something, you might think, will I really be able to make it? Or is it really is it my cup of tea? So until you try and fail, don't give up. And this is what exactly we're trying to do in this particular course. It's going to be a 30-day course. We're already on the 7th day. And according to our schedule, or according to our lesson plan, we were hoping that we will be able to cover, which we have already done, to cover from lesson 1 to lesson 7. I've already issued the notes and everything is out there. So if you have the time, which I completely understand, not so many people have the time outside work, outside family time, and outside your personal stuff to do. But if you did get that time and you probably went through the notes, then give a pat on your back. You've done so far, so good. I've received quite a lot of messages on the site. I've also received quite a number of assessments standing. I do my best, stay late, burn the midnight oil. I come out of my comfort zone so that we can make this happen. Because to me, normally, a promise is a debt. So we don't want to let anybody down, okay? So this will be an introduction to Python programming. It's a Python simplified course covering lessons 1 to 7, which is actually should be within the first 10 days or 30 days of training. Now, if you look, we have, first one is programming basics in Python. And then we have variable names. And then we also did basic operators. We did the core data types. We did the numeric types. We did the precedence and associativity. And then we also did exceptional handling or exception handling, okay? So basics of programming in Python. Basically, that's going to be like almost talking about the history of Python programming, okay? It has a long history, but we summarized it. What we are really very concerned, or what we really want to make sure that we are trying to do, is to be able to just understand. We don't really care about the big picture of the history, but we want to be able to just know who came with the idea, which anybody, even you and me, can do, you know? But normally for something to happen, there has to be some support structure. So we know this guy by the name of Guido van Rossum in Denmark back in 1989 came up with an idea. Within a few years, he was able to release what we call Python programming language, okay? So when you read the history, Python does not actually mean the snake or the serpent. It means some kind of TV series which was popular in Europe around that time. Okay, that's beside the point. I would rather we go with the Python, the snake, which I think is very gracious and it's pretty good to look at. So what we use Python for, we have so many ways we can use Python. Now, among them, which are very popular, is for web development. Now, when we talk of web development, we talk of tiers of web development. There's the backend, which is not visible to anybody, but it's about the logic which is happening, the business logic happening in the server end. And then we have the front end, which is what we interact with on the front side of the system. Everybody see the video, you hear the audio, and then you see the pictures. That's the front end. Now, for Python, we don't deal with that. Python does the back end. Now, the back end basically is to glue the front end to the database, okay? So I would probably call that being the middleware. Now, the middleware will be like, we are in the middle, but we glue the front to the back end, okay? Now, we use Python for web development. We use it for software development. Now, when we say software development, we mean application software. It could be just create a script for, let's say, machine learning, or create a script just to be able to consume some large data sets and do the analysis, and also spit out the reports and be able to display some kind of visualization in the form of graphs, pie charts, and stuff like that for the decision making to happen from the higher ups. Now, when I say the higher ups, I mean like your boss, for example. Okay, we use Python for mathematics. Now, MATLAB, for those people who did engineering or went into that space or might have heard of it. MATLAB is not made from Python, but in Python, they have an emulation of almost something like MATLAB. So we have a lot of libraries, which for those people who will be keen to proceed to the next level of this class, after the 30 days, we'll be able to learn a lot of packages. Among them will be Matplot library, which is almost mimics what MATLAB does. So it does mathematics, okay? And then we have the system programming or the system scripting. Now, here, if you are into the space of security, or you do a little bit of what we call, say, you're in the command center where you control some networks. Say you're in Kenya or in the US, you're maybe hired and mostly I would say internet provider companies, or it could be a telecom like Safaricom. So you'll be dealing with a lot of data and traffic. And Python as a scripting language fits very well in that respect to be able to basically manipulate, okay, be able to print, be able to display, and so many others, okay? So other than those basic programming which Python provides, we also have what does it do? What can we do with Python? Now, Python can be used on the server to create web applications, like we just said, okay? It can also be used alongside software to create workflows. You can basically do anything you can imagine with Python, because if you think about it, most likely it has a library which is already out there, which you can utilize. Or if it's not and you feel competent enough, you can even build your own library, okay? And we'll be able to show you in the next class after the 30 days how we can build modules or libraries and how we can consume those, okay? Python can also connect to a database system. Now, when you talk of a database, we're talking of Access, we are talking of Microsoft SQL, we are talking of MySQL, it could be PostgreSQL, it could be MongoDB, it could be Neo.js4, it could be any database you can think of. You talk of Oracle, most likely there's a driver for it which can be able to connect to that. Now, in this class, in the advanced section, after the 30 days, I'll be able to show those people will be able to join how we can connect to different databases. So we'll concentrate on what we call SQLite. Okay, it's just a SQL database, but it's lighter. Okay, we'll also do some work on MySQL, and also some work on PostgreSQL. And based on those one, if you get them good, you should be able to do any database connectivity from my Python to that database backend. Okay, you can also use Python to handle big data. Now, big data would mean large data sets to perform complex mathematics and statistical analysis. Now, when you talk of that, think of, for example, Google search, think of YouTube, think of NASA, think of New York Stock Exchange. What kind of data do they get like in a second? And if you're using Python, Python will be able to handle that. Python can also be used for rapid prototyping. Say your boss gives you some piece of work, they need it like tomorrow lunchtime, so they can show their their potential customer. Okay, so they don't want, you basically don't want this particular potential customer not to be able to get on board to help you guys or to buy into your company. So Python can come to the rescue to do fast prototyping, what I call modeling. Okay? You can model any project within a short time using Python. Okay. Now, why Python? Python works on different platforms. Okay. It's portable. We can design software in Windows, use the same software with probably no modification, and put it in Mac. The same software in Mac, we can put it in Linux, and the same program, we can also put it, let's say, in Raspberry Pi. Now, probably not so many people have heard of Raspberry Pi, but we used Raspberry Pi pretty much in a very small experimental units. You know, we will not touch that in this class, but when we go to the advanced part of it, Raspberry Pi, you can use it for robotics, you can use it for AI, because it comes like in a very small, almost the size of a phone. And that size of a phone has the processor, the memory, and the hard drive. The hard drive could be in the form of, could be your thumb drive, or it could be some kind of storage linked. And it becomes very handy for modeling and also for prototyping large projects. Python, simple syntax, like English language. It has a syntax that allows developers to write programs with fewer lines of code than other programming languages. Okay, if we were to write, I probably shared this, but if you were to write the same program, just think of Hello World, same program in Java or in C, then you probably consume more than, you probably have to write at least 3 or 4 lines of code to just get that simple output. But for Python, we just call the function, which is print, and then we put in there the string, or we can call a variable, and then we pass it. And then voila, long behold, we get what we're looking for. Okay, so it also runs on interpreted system. Python is not installed, is installed. If you remember in one of the assessment, Python naturally is interpreted, but we can compile Python. Okay, so by default, it's an interpreted language. Okay, so that means we write the code and then we execute it line by line. Okay, and that makes it very fast for prototyping too. Now, an alternative of interpretation will be to compile it. That means the whole program will be run and then we compile it. So we basically we put all the code together and then get the output at the end. But for Python, we just put print hello or print your name, and then boom, it brings you the result. Okay. Python can also be treated on a procedural way, so we can use very old tactic in designing. So what we've been doing so far is procedural, I would say procedural programming, okay? In a few, let's say in a few days, we'll go into the functional programming, okay? After functional programming, we'll be able to touch on the object-oriented programming. Now remember, Python by nature is object-oriented based. So it treats everything it works with as an object. I'll be able to highlight that when we reach that particular area, okay? So we know the features, okay? We know what Python is all about. So some of the main things: cross-platform, very good in memory management. It has a standard, large standard library, which enable you to do basically anything you can imagine, okay? It's open source, it's free, it's easy to learn, it's English-based, it's readable. It has a good way of handling exceptions. Now, when we talk of exceptions, we basically mean the errors. The aspect of when you run a program and then it could not be an error, but it could be a warning. But how do we gracefully handle the warning? Those are what we call the exception handling, okay? So we know what is good to know about Python. Now, in the most recent major version of Python release was 3.x. Now, 3.x could be 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, okay? Which we are using right now. I would very much say if you've been using 2.7, my friend Wanja's been using 2.7, you might not get the same output like some of us, especially the input statement and the print statement will be different. So you probably want to try 3. Some people still use 2.7. It's not bad, but if you know what you're doing, that's fine. But for us to be in this class, it's probably be a good idea to use 3.x. Preferably at least 3.6 and above, okay? Now, the reason why we insist on 3, at least this updated, 2.7 still there. Maybe they still update the security code for it to be able to work properly. So if you're comfortable enough and you think you know what you're doing on your personal project, you can still use 2.7. But what I can tell you, 3.0 come with a lot of features, okay? A lot of improvements. So if we are moving forward, you probably don't want to write thousands and thousands lines of code in 2.7 only to realize that you need to port it. Port as in P-O-R-T, port the same code base to run in a new environment. So Python can be written in text editor. You know, depends on which one you prefer. Okay, some people prefer VS Code, which is like visual source code. Okay, some people prefer using Thorny. I prefer using PyCharm. I prefer using Jupyter Notebook or Jupyter Lab. Some people prefer using Eclipse. You can use Eclipse. If you like, you can use Notepad++. All those depends on what you like to do with it, okay? Now the syntax compared to other programming languages. We saw that Python was designed for readability. It has some similarities to English, okay? And it has a lot of influence in mathematics, okay? It's almost like designed for engineers, but it's very simple enough to be understood by a layman. So Python uses new lines to complete a command. So if you're familiar with any other language like C or Python, C or PHP or Java, you find a lot of those languages use other different syntax like semicolon, or they use the curly bracket. In Python, we use indentation. So I write line of code and then I just indent. So if I was to put like a long line of Python code, my main thing will just be able to put it in blocks, but I indent some sections. And if you have the right IDE, the right integrated development environment, you'll be able to be guided anytime you make a mistake. So that's why you probably want to go for an IDE which is supported by Python plugins. Okay. So it relies very heavily on the indentation. Okay, we use white space, okay, to define scope such as, let's say, a function or a class, okay, a loop, okay. Other programming languages use curly brackets. They use semicolons. We don't, but instead we use full column, okay, which you probably, I shared some examples with you in the notes, okay. So Python is very simple programming language. Even if you're new to programming, you can learn without facing any issues. Now, this is a good time to just take one single minute to ask everybody who is in the call, did you find any difficulty in navigating around Python? And if you did, what part was it? Silence means golden, right? So that means everybody's good, okay? So far, I see a lot of good performance and looks like we are really right on the right track. That's a good thing. So is it worth to learn Python? Now, the question here is why do you want to learn Python? Okay. Research and reports reveal that Python is one of the most preferred language in the 21st century. Okay, this is due to the fact that it's so easy to work with. It's a lot of good community behind it, very supportive. A lot of big companies are going that direction, and it has very good compensation for those people who are new to Python and are getting in. So if you become a good Python guru tomorrow, you get a job, you really can negotiate it, especially if you know what you're talking about. You can negotiate your way around and they'll probably most likely give you the dollar amount you want if you become an authority in that. So 21st century is the time for you. You just got in at a good time and this is the time, okay? Make sure you give it time every day so that you become perfect, not really perfect, but to become an expert in it. Now, simplicity, huge community, easy built-in functions, libraries, packages, and modules, which help you in your learning curve. Okay, it almost flattens out for you. Okay, okay. That will depend on how much you put in it. Okay, a lot of tech giants are getting in. We talk of NASA, we talk of New York Stock Exchange. I'm not sure about Kenya, but probably Nairobi Stock Exchange. But if they're not doing it, they'll probably start thinking about it. Amazon AWS will probably be a good way to get into. You know, we have NASA, okay? So that's a good thing to think about. So we have listed down some important points which you really need to think. Anytime you're reading this, probably will be your motivating thing for your 2020 and beyond. Okay. All right. So again, why? Okay. The salary is good, easy to learn, executes very complex, okay, solutions, leading language in data science, you know, which is paying very well. Artificial intelligence, everybody's talking about it. We talk of artificial intelligence, say, for example, can help us, if we have the right data, we can be able to get that data to determine a trend or a pattern. For example, in this case, a COVID or cancer or diabetes or any other ailment. All it needs is data. Everything we have in Python will be able to work with that. Okay. Python is good for your advancement. If you want to cross over or you want to climb higher within your company, that's going to be an option for you. Applications and job roles might just give you a good project which might be able to win the hearts of your bosses. Portability and extensibility is you can extend it because you can build your own applications, modules, libraries, and then consume them, okay? If there's a library out there which is not existing and you can think of it, you can build it. After you know your Python, you should be able to do that because it's a very wide range of applications which support. So you can design, say for example, you know Python good, real good, and you know Java, and you know C. If Python is slow enough, then you can use Jython. Jython is Java with Python, or you can do C Python. So the reason why sometimes they cross over, they basically take advantage of some of the libraries. Other than reinventing the wheel, you cross over to Java, borrow some libraries, use it in your Python. You can also do the same in C. And I'm sure the other languages which probably coming up, maybe some of them we not know yet, which might be able to do that, okay? But the good thing, Python is high level, it's multi-purpose programming language. So that really makes it very good, okay? So in our last class, or in this class right now, between day 0 to day 7, all we've talked about is variables. We have not yet talked about the classes. Now the variable we talked about will be like something we use for reserving a memory location temporarily so that we can be able to manipulate a program. So we use lowercase, single letter. You can use single letter, but it's not really very encouraged. Use at least self-documenting words or separate those words with underscores or improve, that will improve the readability. For example, if I want you to put, enter your name. So you say, enter my underscore that variable. That's going to be enter underscore name. So when somebody come in or yourself, you come in and you want to probably look at the same program and you don't understand what it's doing, you'll be able to determine what it's doing by basically looking at some of the variables. Because if the variable is self-documenting, that means it's going to be you're going to be able to tell you what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, so variables, we did that. Very important. You cannot do that programming thing without variables. Okay, again, variables. Use a lowercase letter, words or words, separate words with underscore to improve readability. Okay. We are here to talk about functions. So this coming week, we'll talk about functions. Now, make sure if you don't understand what the variable was all about, then you want to go back to the notes. But our next class, we'll be talking about functions and classes. So in this list here, the only thing we want to concentrate on now is going to be the variable, how you declare your variables and how you use them, okay? And then we go to functions. Functions will be basically easy for you to understand. Now, once you do the functions, we'll go ahead and go into classes, okay? And then once we go into classes, and if you master those, then you'll be on your way to a very good start in Python, okay? Okay, for example, this is a good working program, but it does not tell you much. So we say the first line, just no recommended, unless you just want to do it for yourself. But again, yourself, you'll have to remember. So you declare variable A, and then you take the name Felix Mogere, you put in there. And then you say, I would like to go ahead and put another variable B, another variable C, and then take the first variable, which is a dot split. I want to split the first variable into two and then keep them into A, into B, and C. So split is basically take a string and then split it. And then in this case, we take the word Felix Mogere and then we keep it in A, and then we call that A, okay? Then that A dot split is going to be a function. Split is a built-in Python function which helps us split the string of the letter A, which is, in this case, Felix Mogere's name. And then we go ahead and say, now we want you to go ahead and print C and also print B, but separate those two with a comma. Okay, so we will learn this when we get to the functions. So this is just for demonstration. So the above will work, but it might be very confusing for you. So we'll have to keep track of what A, B, and C represents. It may also be confusing for collaborators, especially if somebody wants to come in and look at your program. A much cleaner choice of names would something be like the next one you see here. Okay. So name, say name is Martin Luther. And then we say first, comma, last, okay, first name, comma, last name. And then we take that, we call split. Now we split Martin Luther into two. Then we go ahead and print last name, comma, first name, and then we call the separator function, which is part of this. Separator function is actually part of the print statement, which we will learn. So that will be able to give you last name, comma, last name, comma, first name, which is more self-documenting. Okay, you come in, you'll be able to say, okay, they're looking for first name, and then they're looking for last name. So that's a good thing. Okay. Now we talked about Python operators. Okay, constructors which manipulate the value of operands. Okay, consider the expression, for example, 5 plus 3. Okay, we call the 5 and the 3 as operands, but the plus sign is the operator. Okay, if you read that, Python language supports the following. We have 7: arithmetic, comparison, assignment, logical, bitwise, membership operators, and identity operators. So those are 7 which we support in Python. Okay, and I mean, based on the program you'll be working on, there's just no way you can probably use at least 4 of this in every program. Okay. So a membership operator in Python can be defined as being an operator that is used to validate the membership of a value. Okay. Now, this operator is used to test membership in variables such as strings, integers, as well as tuples. So membership operators as a whole contain a number of different operators. Okay. Now, in the notes, we have the bitwise operators. One of the members, David, shared a very good video. Guys, I would encourage you very much to watch the video. I will also share with you some of the video. Make sure you understand this, because if you don't, then it's gonna make it very complicated for you to understand the subsequent sessions coming along. Okay. So basically that's bitwise still. I'll share these notes with you so you can, in a PDF, so you can have it for your reference, but I'll also share with you more information so that we be on the same page as we go along. Okay. Now in the assessment, we shared something to do with the data types. Python has 5 data types. Okay. Numeric has 3 subsection of the data type: integer, float, and complex number. And then in the sequence type of the data types of Python, we have 3 subsections, which is strings. Your name is a string. My name is a string. To play, you know, we use, there's a difference between to play and list. So you probably want to make sure that you understand that part, okay? Now in the list, in other language, a list will appear like an array. But for now, we're gonna assume that we'll just use that because in Python, there's a special package or a special library for arrays, and we call it NumPy. So for now, don't worry about it. Let's just think of the list and the to play, and also the string as part of the sequence type. Remember, we have the dictionary. Now, the dictionary is built into Python, okay, data type. Okay, we have the following stored built-in data types, okay? Numeric, sequence is string, list, and to place. We have the Boolean. Boolean is either true or false, okay? Say, for example, build a system whereby you want users to be able to be a certain age to use it. So you say, if you're 18 and above, it's true, or if you're 18 and below, no, if you're 18 and above, true, or if you're 17 and below, then it's going to be false. That's Boolean. Okay, we also have sets, dictionaries. We talked about those. Okay, numeric types, float, integer, and complex. Okay, we talk about the Boolean, we talk about the strings, we talk about the sets. Remember, sets are an ordered pair and are unordered. These elements which are unique, duplicate elements are not allowed. Okay. The set itself may be modified, by the elements contained in the set must be of immutable type. Immutable means we cannot edit them. Okay. Okay, I know we are soon running out of time, so we have the list and the to place. Those are examples. Okay. Again, those are data types, the list, the to place, and then the explanation. Okay. Again, the comparison between the list and the to play. Okay. Remember, the lists are mutable, to plays are not. Okay. So this will be coming to you in the form of a PDF note, so you'll be able to read. If you have any question, feel free to ask, and I'll be able to be more than glad to help. Okay, list, set, and to place. So we have the difference in the three. Okay, list is mutable, set is immutable, to play is immutable. Okay, mutability means, is it editable? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. Core data types. Among them, we have the dictionary. Remember the core. The dictionary is one of those. Examples, we give it below there. Okay. Now, the numeric data types, talk of the integer, the long. The long is like, you can talk of like, how long, how big is the world population? If you were to declare that in a variable, you probably want to keep that in a long. You don't want to keep that in an integer. I mean, we're talking of like 7 billion. Okay, if you are to spell that, those zeros out, then that will have to be in the long. The float has to have a decimal point. Okay, complex numbers, we use those for in mathematical and statistical calculations. Boolean is either true or false, so it's a subset of the integer. Okay. Okay, simple program. Now, say for example, in Python, we do one, specify the data type variable explicitly as we do in Python. Now, you find that in Python, you don't have to declare the data type. But if you are to do the same program in C, C will need to know the kind of data type you're declaring. Otherwise, you get an error. So Python is It's just beautiful. You know, sometimes he might fool you. So you gotta be very careful, you know. Okay. Numeric types, again, those are there. The values are defined: integer, float, and complex. Okay. Okay. We have integer, float, complex. Again, explanation. Okay. We have complex. For example, you can get a real number, you multiply with an imaginary number. You can only do that if you're dealing with complex. So I'll explain that in there, and I'll share those with you. So you read and then you understand better. Okay. This is a simple program of how complex works. Say 3 plus 6j into C and then print C. And then you see what it does for you. So those examples, you'll be able to run those. Okay, complex numbers, how we use them. Then create real numbers. Python complex numbers can be either using direct assignment statement or by using complex functions. So if you're into like electrical engineering, you know, statistics and mathematics and stuff like that, even in business, some certain situations might just call for complex numbers calculations for you. Okay. That's another example I gave you on complex. And then we have the precedents. I've in the assessment, I've given you quite a few of those. For example, multiplication and addition, which one comes first? We can say multiplication comes first, but it depends on how many numbers we want to multiply and how many do we want to add. But if you put in like a parenthesis, a bracket, remember in school the BODMAS thing, that's what exactly we're talking about here. Sometimes the bracket kills all the precedents because the bracket will have to come first. If we wanted to add the 6 plus 8, we add 6 plus 8 and then multiply by 3. If we don't want the multiplication to happen first, then we have to do the bracket around 6 plus 8 first. And that will be able to give us what we're looking for. Okay. Associativity is only when there are 2 or more operators of the same precedence. Okay. The point to note is associativity doesn't define the order in which operands of a single operator are evaluated. Okay. Now consider the following program. Now, this will be something in your notes, so don't worry about it. We have a lot of good things on the right there for you. Okay. That's from the top. Bracket will come first. It's bracket of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. If you come to the US, you do math, they have a different name for it, but the same concept. Okay. And of course, we have exceptional handling, how we handle the errors, how we gracefully make the program respond, and how we handle the warnings. That's the exception handling. In our next assessment, I'll put quite a few questions based on the handling, exception handling for you. Okay. And this is a while loop. So it's at your own time, you can run this one, but this is how we'll be able to handle the loop and how we handle the exceptions. Okay. And this is the last slide. So I'm gonna open up to any questions, anybody, please ask. If you need to chat, feel free to chat. We'll save those and we'll be able to come back with you with the right answers. Any questions? The floor is open. And thank you guys for listening attentively. Okay, Lucy, go ahead, please. Go ahead, Lucy. Unmute.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to do that. I just wanted to ask, I've been trying to maybe understand if there is a relationship between dictionary and maybe record in other languages.
Okay. So in order to be able to understand that, remember the features of a dictionary, right?
Yeah.
And to some extent, you're right. Now, if you look at some of the assessment we did, like you are Lucy Wagoro, your
Yeah.
address, your phone number, your email, that's going to be your record.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
your PIN number, and then the
Yeah.
other number they wanted you to have, and all those other numbers, those are your records. Now, we can take that record, and then in Python, it's going to be a dictionary. And then we can always call and actually iterate through the record based on what we're looking for and the index. So to your question, yes. In other languages, that will be like a record.
Yeah, okay, because I think that those are some of the things I was really meeting for the first time, and I was like, what? There is a new data type here. And then you called it to play. All along I've been reading it as tuple. I don't know whether I'm reading it well or it is you. But I was again asking if I could relate it to maybe enumerated data types.
Uh, Probably not. Numerated data type, we just have three: complex, float, and integer. Remember 0 to 9, those are the numerals, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we cannot mix them up. But if you talk of tuple or you talk of list, you can, those are going to be like, the dictionary is going to be the basic inbuilt. Now the tuple and the list, those will fall under different data types. So you really, when you talk, you don't want to mix the understanding of the two. But you can use numericals in your tuples. You can use it in your dictionary. You can use it in your list based on what that list is consisting of. You see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Did that answer your question?
You did. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Any other question, please? Anybody else?
Miga,
Yeah.
as people are waiting to ask if they have any further questions, I just want to say thank you for the manner in which you explain this stuff. What I am taking from it is from a tech leadership perspective. So based on today's class and the manner, in fact, she's when Lucy stated that pronunciation of some words, in her head when she's reading, she thinks it's one way. So one of the beautiful things about the manner in which you're teaching is I feel comfortable enough to talk about it. The language, the stories getting in my head together, such that even if I'm not going to go into deep Python itself, it's easy then for me on in the boardroom, I'm able then to talk in the manner that you are, just because you are calm, the manner in which you explain, then the confidence of the story. My body is not so terrified of Python anymore. I feel like, okay, I can do this. And I just wanted to say that's such a beautiful thing, because then the terror of Python, well, at least for me, it's going. I'm still slightly terrified, but I'm not as terrified as before. I don't know if the other people are getting that feeling, but I'm starting to feel like, okay, maybe this can be done.
Jackie, it's the snake. Just kidding.
I tell you what, I mean, your pronunciation really should not matter so long as you understand the context. I might be spelling it differently, and somebody else, maybe from another part of the planet, is going to be spelling differently. Talk to maybe an Indian or a Chinese. You'll be surprised what they call it. But at the end of the day, is what you come out with. Is it correct? So Lucy, to your point, whether you call it tuples or whatever, you're still okay, so long as you can communicate it.
Yeah.
Yes. Any other
I have a
question?
question. I
Please.
have a question, Migod. I know this might sound like shallow to you, but anyways. As I was reading through the Python strings, I was, kind of following the instructions and some of the commands that you provided. And my frustration was with the Python strings.
Okay.
I think there's a place there. I think if you look at the notes on the, I think page 9,
Okay.
which says strings in Python are identified as contiguous sets of characters represented in the quotation marks, Python allows for either pairs of single or double quotes. Subsets of strings can be taken using the slice operator. So you had all those.
Okay.
Anyways, long story short, let me just get straight to the point. So there's an area there where there's a string of codes, str equals hello world. The second one is print str, and then all the red sign, I think printed in red, and there's a pound sign, prints complete string. And then the third one. So I'm just wondering, and excuse my ignorance here, I'm just asking a question.
Okay.
I'm wondering, do we run this whole thing? Because I see at the bottom,
You wanna share
this
the
will
screen,
produce.
or do you want to share the screen?
Let me see if I can. Yeah.
I can stop sharing so you can share.
Okay.
Take it.
All right. Host disable participant screen sharing.
Oh.
So it's saying that I've been disabled.
Oh man, let me see if I can figure that out for you.
Are you able to make her a co-host or give her hosting?
Yeah, it should be good. Can you try again?
Yeah. Here we go, and I think it's this one. Can you all see it?
It's coming up. Okay, I see it now. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm not so sure if this explanation was for us to run on the Python platform or but I tried it on either both. And you see right here, it says this will produce the following results. My confusion was, I see the space between.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you sharing the black part or the notes?
The notes.
Okay, go back.
And the black part too, because part of that is what I was running.
Okay.
And I was getting errors. But look at the notes first of all. I'll minimize that.
Okay. So right now I see your environment. Can you go in the notes? Click on the.
Can you see the notes?
No. Can you go back? Click on the notes.
Okay. Let me see.
You may need to share your desktop, the whole desktop, so when you click from one section to the other, it shows up.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So talk me through your question again.
Okay. So you see just the whole string.
Yeah.
From str hello, and how it's explained down here that this will produce the following results. Mm-hmm. So my confusion was, yes, I was able to type all these str hello equals hello world, print str, and I'm not so sure I was supposed to type all these in red, pound prints complete string.
The one in red, those are just comments to explain.
Oh, they're just comments. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, then that makes sense.
Yeah, those are just comments. In Python, anytime you see, in Kenya we call them differently, but over here, the hashtag, okay, mm-hmm. Those are actually comments. So the Python interpreter basically don't care about those.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't even see those. So you see, this, when you do that print string is actually storing the word hello. Now that hello world, the first letter H starts from 0. Okay. Letter H starts from 0. Letter E will be 1. L will be 2. L will be 3. O will be 4. So is that right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now when you store that, then you say, now I would like to go ahead and print 0. It's going to print the word, the letter H. If you say, I would like you to print 2:5, it's going to look for L,
Oh, I get it now. Okay.
and then stops at 5. So L, and then go all the way when it reaches the index 5, stops, and then prints it out for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So we say number 6 will be like print string twice. That
Oh,
means
times 2.
multiply the string content by 2. Or you
Okay.
can say, now I would like you to print hello world, but I would like you to put a plus sign, which is in concat, we call it concat in
Concatenated.
short, right? So we
Mhm.
concat that, and then we say hello world test case. Okay, is that clear for you now?
Oh yeah, it is. It is. And then with the one last thing was, I think there was also a command here
Yeah.
about I think it was tuples, yeah.
Oh,
So this
Jenny,
one,
before you scroll down, sorry, and
okay.
this is Monica, just because I had a similar question in the content that you just showed, and I think I commented somewhere on the chat. I kind of wanted to comment that, and I don't know if this is a miss or something I was missing, Megot, you can correct me on that, but there should be parentheses between what you are printing. Like after the print, there should be parentheses, right? Otherwise, if you just put like right on the page where you are, if you do print list as is, I think you're gonna get a syntax error, right? There should be like double.
I'm sorry, which one are you referring to? The print parentheses? Which one?
Yeah, like right where she is right now, there is a print space list. So does the space take the place of brackets or parentheses? Because I know in like when I was reading in W3 schools, you have to put like parentheses between the print or after the print.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I see your point. Okay, what I would do, and I'm not saying that I was perfect in doing this, but I would rather you try that, and let me see if I can do that real quick for you. If you're doing that in, let's say in Python 2.7, you probably might be able to get some value which is different from Python 3. So let me go into Colab. Okay. And that's
I'm using 3.6. Yeah, I'm using 3.6, and the brackets work for me all the time. Because I was seeing. Yeah.
So let me see. Did you try without the bracket?
I did, and I got a lot of syntax errors, so I kind of figured to go back to the way I'd seen.
My mistake on that end. Let me go back here. Let me see if I can make a list. Store list in there. Okay.
I'm using 3.7, and it's the same for me with Monica. I actually thought it was a trick question, or maybe, you know, since you'd mentioned the parentheses, that because without the parentheses, I was getting errors as well.
Yeah, that must have been my end of the thing. So if you're using 2.7, you're probably getting it, probably getting the answer, right? But if you just say print and then list, it's not gonna work. But if you say print parenthesis list, then it should be able to work for you. So let me go back and then I'll share my screen real quick so you can see. Okay. Okay. Well, that's a good catch. Thank you, Monica. Okay, let me share my screen real quick so you can see.
Okay.
If you stop sharing, then I'll continue. Okay. Can you stop sharing?
Sure. There you go.
Okay. Let's see. Oh. Okay, now can you guys probably see my screen now? Okay.
Yes.
You see that? Okay, so you see, can keep the word I just did, declare list, and then I save my name in there, say, and then I click that. If I click on that without the parentheses, that's going to be the error I get.
Right.
Okay, so without the parentheses, I get an error. Now remember, print statement in Python 3 is going to be a function. It has to be surrounded by a bracket. Open, we close, and then whatever we trying to, we pass a parameter or an argument for it. So in this case, we're going to be passing the list name as the argument. So we do that here, and then that's what we get. Let me see. And that's it. So you're right. Yeah, I'll fix that. Sorry. Okay. You have any other question, Monica?
No, it was just that statement that I wanted to make. And then, because I've seen it across the, what is it called? The notes.
Mhm.
So, and maybe for somebody who is here, and maybe Jackie, you can post that on the blog, just go ahead and just put print, because I know that will be allowed to go in and fix, unless maybe there's a nice Python code to just go and fix it all in one bag.
Yeah, we will fix it. I'll
Okay.
definitely do that. Yeah.
No
That's
worries.
gonna
Yeah.
be in the error list. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And I'm sorry, whoever was asking the question for stealing the show. I want to call you Miss Lowe.
Oh, that's fine. That's all right.
Yeah.
That was helpful.
Laura, you still want to continue?
Yes, I want to continue. So there was also, I think, the dictionary. I
Mhm.
think you kind of explained the red imprints on here, what they were really standing for,
Are you
the
sharing or
explanation. So
you want to share?
I'll be sharing here in a few.
Okay,
I'm
so let me
trying
go
to
ahead and
look for
start
it.
doing it. So you
Okay.
can- all right.
So,
Okay, you can take it off. It's all yours when you're ready.
all right.
Mhm.
Yeah, here I come.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so right here, I think this is dictionaries. So I went ahead and typed this in IDE. The colors, the curly brackets, Tamara, and blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And I think, I'm not so sure, just correct me, because I'm so not very Python oriented. So it says, the bottom part says, when you press enter, you will see the color associated with Sarah, comma, yellow. So for me, when I entered that, I found I got pink. So I'm not.
Maybe I mixed it up. Go back up. Scroll back up. I might have scrolled back. So, Tamara is going to be pink, Sarah is going to be red, and Odera will be blue.
Mm.
So if you do that for Sarah, Sarah should be red, not yellow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a typo. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so I thought I was losing my mind. So I was like, oh, I
Really
can get
good.
this.
I was rushing through this, so guys, make sure that I deliver. I guess I need to deliver quality stuff.
It's all right. There's a lot of information, so we really appreciate you just offering it for free. So we don't take it
Thank
for
you.
granted. So
Okay.
yeah, and that's it. I can
Hey,
unshare.
if you get a promotion, let me know.
Oh, I am.
All,
I
all,
am claiming it
all
in
I need is
Jesus'
just a
name.
Coke and a hamburger. I'm just kidding. Do you have any
I
other
got you.
questions? Guys,
Hey, Doc, the last time we checked, you were human, and it's expected. But thank you for putting all this together.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I sent you some two chats on the side on the slides. So
Okay.
there's maybe just let me know if you have questions on that.
Okay, you did in the chat?
Yeah, on the chat, just private message you. So just let me know. It's on the slides. I think there were two that needed to be edited.
Oh, okay, so you did, yeah? Okay, I'll
Yeah.
take care of those.
Okay.
Okay. Or do you need me to give you an answer immediately?
No, I figured it out after scratching my head.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any other question, guys?
Yeah, Mega, the chat has some stuff that maybe is important to you. So maybe let me run through it real quick and see what you may need to know real quick. As the students, maybe if somebody has a question, I can just run through the chat, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So Carol Irangi talks says, can you explain the groups? Carol Irangi? Is she still there? Carol.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I keep seeing those groups on the chat. You know, you're creating group one and then a second group, a third group. So that was just kind of a little confusing for me. And then
I see your question. I thought it was related to Python. The groups are homework groups. So there's the main class, you know, Python 1 and Python 2. People who are in because the first Python class chat got full. So there's a 2. That one has, you know, same thing, same information. And then if you see group 1, group 2, group 3, it's study groups. So people are in either, we have 3 study groups so far, and people are doing their homework together. So I am in all the study groups. However, I do head a study group too. And so it's just, you know, looking out for the person, making sure their questions were answered, if they have issues going. And then sometimes if I see the same question asked in group 1 and answered in 1, I can give the answers to group 2 and 3 because it makes, you know, fix the problem. So that's what's going on with that.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
On that note, Jackie, I think I talked to Claire and she said her group was full, but I was looking for a group, so I don't know if you can actually assign me to a group. So
yeah. Just ping me, so that I don't forget, just ping me on the side and say, add me to study group 2. I'll just add you into Claire's study group so that you're with her.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Richie says, thank you, Jackie, Meshach, and Megat. Richie, welcome from everyone. I'm just going to take it in and say welcome from everyone. Then Elijah, so much love to all the facilitators. Thank you, Elijah. Thanks, everyone. Then perfect. Okay, so Lucy Wagoro says perfect illustration on relevancy when it comes to declaring variables. Thanks, Migot. Then great presentation from Preston. Dito from Richie. Elijah says, considering we are rushing because of time in this session, can we have more or longer Zoom meetings? I feel like this session is better than just reading the notes, especially for those who are committed elsewhere and have problems securing enough time for Python classes, which are quite necessary. So I'm going to hand that over to you, Megat.
Okay. Is that something I need to answer? Okay, so, you know, very good things, they need to be short. So I thought maybe this is going to be short, but apparently it's not. So whoever just asked the question, if they're still around, then you'll realize that we covered almost 50 minutes of going through the notation. The reason why I did it the way I did it, because not all of us are on the same level, okay? Some people are just starting out. Some people, they have some knowledge of something relevant to what's going to make it possible for them to understand. But again, opening up for questioning helps us be on the same page. So if somebody needs any other additional question answered, we have the WhatsApp groups and we have the Slack, we have the classroom. You can actually even send me a message. Most of the time I'll be awake. If I don't answer immediately, I'll probably do that in a few minutes or a few hours. The reason why we do that, it's very redundant, but it's good for us to be able to take like all of us together in this train so that we can reach where we need to reach together. Yeah.
Thank you, Megat. Thank you.
So next time will be less of reading, a little bit of maybe coding, but we can do better than that if we do it more and more. But this class is 30 days, so we have 2 more sessions to cover. That's going to be session for the Zoom. Okay. But when we reach the more advanced stage of the class, you'll find that the relevancy is going to be different. Yeah, we'll be dealing with more projects, more practical and life, like real life situations in terms of implementation. Yeah.
Thank you, Megat.
Thank you. Did that answer the question? Maybe, I don't know.
I believe you did. Elijah, I thought I saw Elijah. I don't know if you dropped off. Elijah, do you want to say if you're good with the answer? I see you on mute if you can hear us. Elijah, are you still there? I guess Migot, that's, well, you know, that's the answer then. He's not there.
Right, that's good. I mean, it's going to be in the recording. We'll share the recording. We'll share the notes.
Right.
If he gets time to listen, if it's not satisfactory, he can always get back. Now it's his burden now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he responded and said thank you for the answer.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, thank you, Carol. I guess I hadn't gone all the way down. So, okay, yes, he says thank you. Okay, thank you. So we got him. Then thank you from Fatima. Thank you for the presentation. Mary Kanani says, thank you so much for this session. Looking forward to continuing the class. From Monica Njaga to everyone, print list. I think we've discussed that, right? Yes, no?
Yeah, we did. I was just putting the I guess the syntax.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll correct that. Thank you.
Okay.
Monica. Yeah.
Quality is good, typos rare, thanks.
Monica, you're doing good in class too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're watching you. We're watching you. Yeah, by the way, I read everything.
Oh, you do. I realize that.
I read everything and I do the correction.
Mm-hmm.
So I really try to like giving the TLC, the tender loving care we can.
I appreciate that.
When
the
you
struggle
finish,
is real for me.
Yeah.
I'm trying hard. I have a month-old baby, so I have to hasten this.
Yeah, look at you now. You're doing that,
Wow.
and you still have an infant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you guys, we don't have excuses. She has a month-old baby and see how, come on, you know, if guys are not feeling motivated, I just don't know, because I don't even know what to say then for myself. Like, I have to remember her month-old baby and how she's doing, and then if I'm not there, I must be joking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Greatness, Monica.
Yeah, of course, I know Monica. I know Rose M, Lucy, Wagoro. Those are just few ones, and I can name names, but everybody's doing very well in class. I'm surprised.
I'm happy it's a pleasant surprise. And I'm seeing women dominating, which I'm kind of feeling good about. I mean, not to say anything about the men, but I'm just excited for the women.
I was going to say that. I'm like, where are the men?
Yeah. I don't know, but right now.
The men are there. I just didn't mention all the names.
Okay.
Mika, this is Rose. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Can you explain the logic to question 11 on assignment 3? I'm not understanding what it's asking.
Oh, can you share the screen? You're able to share, are you? Maybe somebody's sharing, so they, okay. Thank you. All right, so this is a good one. Have you read the notes on the loops? Did you hear? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm thinking she can. I can hear you. Team, can you guys hear me, or am I the only one who can hear him?
Yeah, I can hear him too.
Okay.
I can hear.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So Rose, you can hear too, right? Yes or no?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, I was muted. Yes, I can hear you.
So you want me to explain the logic behind it?
Yeah, what is it that we are expecting to find? I just couldn't figure out.
Okay, so look at line 1. Line 1 is a variable, okay?
Yes.
And that's the variable is num.
Yes.
Okay, and then look at line 4.
Okay.
The variable is different, it's a number. And
Yes.
then look at line 5. Line 5, the variable we pass into that function is actually a string. So one thing you have to do, make all the variables consistent. So either you stick with the num instead of number, and then when you reach line number 5, you don't want to pass a string, but you just want to pass a numeric variable. So you remove the quotations. And then in the while loop at the end of line number 4, there has to be a colon. Okay, and then in order for you to be able to save into that variable on line 7, the consistency you come up from top has to be down, all the way down. So if it's number, it's number. If it's none, it's none, all through, but don't mix them up.
Okay.
And then number 4, you just at the end, you put a column, full column. And then number 5, you remove the strings. I mean, you remove the quotation so that it's not a string, but it's a numerical variable. And then that program will run for you. You can do it now.
Okay, sure. Let me do it. Yeah. Let me do it.
Make sure number 7, you remove the semicolon, because that's only applicable in C and PHP or in Java. Just put,
And then, what did you say about number 4?
Number 4, put a column, full column.
Okay.
Column. Then column, full column.
Oh, that's a semicolon, yes.
Okay, and then number 1 will be your base. Either you want to do it as number or num.
Okay, so this should say num.
Num, yeah. And then number 5, use num too. And then also remove the quotation, the quotation marks. Remove the quotation marks.
Oh, the quotation marks.
So I have a question. Is number a reserved word in Python?
No.
Okay.
That's a variable.
Oh, wait.
Declared.
So
indentation is
indented.
There. You know you can indent number 5, right? So that it can line up with the number 7. Number 5, line number 5.
Okay.
Indent so you can line up with number 7. Okay. Now you see it changed color. Now run it again.
Oh, sorry, my dog is barking. It still gave me an error.
Your indentation.
You need to put 4 steps in until it stops being red.
One more step.
One more.
Your indentation should be consistent. If you want to do one, that's to do 1 all the way. If it's 2 indentations, then 2 all the way. But you cannot mix them up.
Okay, can I do that and not indent?
It has to be indented.
Oh, okay.
Always, you probably want to read the feedback you get from exception, like expecting an indented block. Try run it again.
You get an error.
Okay. So your program is correct except for the indentation. I'm gonna let you figure that out, but it's still number 5.
Okay, I'll figure it out then.
By default, if I remember correctly, you should move like 4 steps in.
4 steps in?
Yeah. First move back to the beginning, then take 4, 1,
2, 3, 4. All right.
Yep. Run it again.
The comment you don't have to worry about, you see now?
Oh.
Okay. So look.
Is that what you expect?
Now I would like you to dry run. Dry run means I would like you to use your mental, let's say, just run it, see if it's correct. We have number, we keep number 1 in the num, right? And then we say, while that number is less than 10, then print the number.
Oh,
Otherwise,
yes, so
increase the number to number plus 5. So go ahead and change from 10, maybe change it to 5. And then try again. But one thing you have to realize, the program is now running. So that's a good thing. So, and then it's telling you, while the number is less than 5, print number. Can you run it again?
Wait, it didn't run.
You have to, when you have to highlight the one you want to run. Now it's green on the side, then now run it. Okay. So number, put 1 in number, and then while number is less than 5, we print. So why is it not printing?
Could you try and maybe indent the last statement, number 7, with like the print? Did we already try that? Like
The program
yeah.
is good.
The program is okay.
Now the program syntactically it's good. Now the logic is what you're looking at. Now you want to change number 4 to another number instead of 5. So you play around with it. Good. Okay. Highlight the last line, the last spell, and then do this pair of scissors up there so you can cut this unneeded.
At that?
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, okay.
Highlight the last one first.
Okay.
Highlight the last one. The last space.
Oh, this one. Okay.
No, the last space. The line number space. Okay. I wish I could.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Then now click on the pair of scissors up there.
Okay.
Okay, now try to run. Okay, now go back and change, change number 4, change that 3 maybe to 10. Let's see what it does. Run it.
Didn't run.
So now for some reason it's not running, but it did last time, right?
Yes.
So the program, right now you've already fixed the problem. Now I'm gonna leave it up to you to figure out why it's not running. Why is it not printing?
What?
Okay.
But those were the correction we made, those were what we needed to fix.
Okay.
Make sure that the variables are consistent. Don't mix them up. Don't put like lowercase, uppercase, or mix them. And the while statement will always be followed by a colon.
Okay.
Okay. And then the indentation. So this program is good to go.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You have any other question?
Yeah.
No, that was the only one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Somebody?
Go ahead.
Yeah, the question I had was, I know when Rose started asking the question, you had asked her if she had read I think the loop notes. And based on that, I want to know how many sets of notes does everybody have? Because like the loop and the whole, I think sequencing iterations and something, I only started seeing those ones like way later.
Me too.
I uploaded the loops about 2 days ago.
Oh.
And that's not really due. If you look into the lesson plan, it's not really included, but there's no way you can do programming without the sequence or without the conditions and without the loops. I think I did the upload either on Thursday or Wednesday. So if you look, sometimes I do more than, I do repeat the upload because we have new people coming in. And when I do that, that sends an alert so that they know it's out. Yeah, but every note's the same.
Okay, so but just to confirm, so chapter 1 through 7, or the ones that we saw at the beginning of this class, those are all in the variable types and something documentation, both part 1 and 2, right?
Say one more time, please.
So what I'm asking is, everything that we saw that we're supposed to cover from day 1 to day 7, that is already in the variables notes, right? There's 2 sets of variable notes. There's, I think, a Word document and a PDF.
Yeah, so from lessons, I won't even call them chapters, from lessons 1 to 7, which we are supposed to be covering in 10 days, I uploaded everything in advance. And when we meeting, like when we schedule the meeting today, this meeting today is basically to help us be able to focus on what we did and what we are going to cover. So all the notes, about I think about 4 different notes. Most of them are either in Google Word docs or in PDF format. And they're covering from lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, 5, 6, and 7. From basics of Python all the way to exception handling. Now, the reason why I introduced the loops, the conditional statement, and the sequence is in order for us to be able to understand, so that when we go into functions and classes, it will be apparent for us and it will make more sense. Did that make it clear for you?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other question? Anybody else?
Migot, let me check the chat real quick to see. Slow says, okay, the class was the class was so good. Sharon says that. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Jackie and Migot. And can you address, okay, Rose, can you address question 11 and explain the logic? Okay, I think, oh, let's see, there's more.
That was before he answered it. Thank you.
Right, yeah, you're good. Yeah. What platform is groups on WhatsApp, Google Classroom? Oh, JC to everybody. JC, the groups are just on WhatsApp. It's just if you are in the WhatsApp class.
Yeah.
I mean,
Slack got filled up. So Slack is good to have, but you don't really have to be there. Everything we do either in Slack or in WhatsApp. So if you have a question, you ask it in WhatsApp, we'll still get it. Now we have 2 WhatsApp accounts, so the first one got filled up.
Okay,
so
I think
if you ask on the other one, we'll still get you on this other one too.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That's JC?
Yes.
Did that answer you?
Yes, that did. I might end up setting up on Slack just in case, but I'm on WhatsApp as well.
Okay, that's good. I know Slack is full, but I'll try go in there and see who is in there but don't need to be in there, in terms of like they really don't need it. Because some people just came in, but I don't think they need it. But okay. The backbone is probably WhatsApp.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Uh-huh. You're welcome.
Miss Lo, what?
I got one quick question. On my Google Classroom, I keep having like 3 or 4 assessments or tests due, and no matter how many times I submit, it keeps telling me I have not submitted.
Yeah, that's true. Rose, I'm not really sure what's happening, but once you submit one, you see another one, just
ignore it. Okay.
Because I see I received quite a number of submissions from you.
I'm sorry.
Something's telling me it could be something to do with Google, because I mean it's keep on coming. So once you've already answered, don't worry about it.
Okay.
And guys, sometimes I do submit because some people just come in, so I just do it for everybody. But if you open and you see it's already been done by you, you really don't have to do it again. Take that energy and do something else. Okay. Any other
Jackie,
questions?
did you ask a question?
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking for your cell number so that I can add you to the group.
940 642. It's a 940.
Okay, so 1 second.
I can just type it.
Yeah, if you send it to me, then we're good. And
okay.
With that,
Miss Lo, 940 is in Texas, right? Are you in Denton?
Yeah, I'm actually in Keller.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, Keller, Texas, not too far from Denton. So.
And with that, Miko, the chat is clean. We're good. We have looked at everything from the chat.
Yeah.
So I'm
gonna. So it looks like we're good, and I hope we're on the same page now. When you go back to hit those notes, just hit it hard. If you have any question, feel free to ask. But this is the foundation class. So for those people who are really keen and interested in continuing after the 30 days, we can only do that, I would say, quote unquote, by appointment. So we have to have a number who are dedicated so that we can continue. Because this one, when it's done, is not enough to do anything in Python programming. That's why we think maybe an advanced class would be good. So advanced class will be able to take us more into programming, doing some projects, doing web design, learning Django, learning Flask, you know, doing the database backend, connecting, and just taking one project from the ground up, and maybe building something which is able to be applied in real-time situation. So thank you guys again, everybody, for joining, and thank you for participating in class, and thank you for making the right decision. Yeah, I know you'll make it, so don't give up. Okay. With that, I pass it back to Jackie. Jackie, you the lady now.
And I will say, guys, thank you so much for coming into class, and thank you for betting on yourselves and taking the time to do your homework, to ask questions, to interact. The beauty of these sessions is also that we are putting faces to the names and voices and personalities, which is a great thing, that because you start seeing the team. So people are now not strangers to you, and you kind of know people's strong areas. And so even if there's no class and you felt that somebody was strong in something, feel free to interact, because these are the people who are going to be referring you for jobs or giving you references when you need a job. So it's also part of it is networking and just creating your Python community, so that when you're done with class, it doesn't end there. You have people who know you, they got a feel for you, a taste for you, and keep speaking up and asking questions, and all the best in your Python journey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you. So, Megan, I guess you can go ahead and maybe end the call. Guys are free to drop off as they wish.
Yeah, I think with that, we call it quits. Now we say stay safe. Make sure that you keep your distance. Wash your hands if you have to. And just stay away from that COVID thing. We want to see you alive, so we can be able to see you next time. Thank you very much, and thank you for your time. For Kenyan brothers and sisters, good night.
Good night. Have a good one. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.